Blog Talk Radio.
I just wanted to run down the news real quick to you guys. I don't know what had happened. My audio was on. I don't know. I'm feeling like a bumbling idiot right now, but I first began the program talking about the protesters. Anyway, the protesters over in on Wall Street and several other places right now, they have good intentions. But what they're not understanding is you can cut the toe off the giant, but if you don't cut the head off, you'll never get anything done. They will be behind closed doors laughing. They want riots. They want revolution. That way they can bring in their new world order. Anyway, on Mail Online, I ran into an article, dozens arrested after foreclosure protest target Bank of America. The police have arrested 24 protesters for trespassing during the demonstration against the Bank of America's foreclosure practices at the bank's giant offices in downtown Boston. The Boston Herald reports that the event was an act of civil disobedience and the organizers intended to send a message to lenders' practices were unfair. They wanted to be arrested, and we obliged. Boston Police Commissioner Edward F. Davis told the newspaper. Organizers say about 3,000 people joined this protest. Bank of America spokesman T.J. Crawford dismissed the demonstration as a publicity stunt. There was no mention of Bank of America's planned debit card fees, which recently have generated headlines frustrated customers nationwide. I'm sure you guys had seen that this last week. I find that really interesting. Bank of America's website crashed yesterday after being overwhelmed by angry customers following the decision to charge them $5 a month. They use their debit cards. The site went down for hours in the morning, and later the service was still intermittent. The breakdown came less than 24 hours after the bank revealed the rollout fee early next year. You know, it just comes down to this. Bank of America, I don't even see how they're still around. I mean, they were one of the banks that we bailed out. And my God, their stock was still only $6.35 at the close of business Thursday. I mean, look at this company's prospectus. Their prospectus is trash. Any of you people out there check on financial things, look at the prospectus on this bank. You know what? I'm just going to throw that paper. They shouldn't even be around. Now, in another article, I ran into Adam Kokesh's article on the Activist Post. Any of you know Adam Kokesh? This is the same individual that went over to the Jefferson Memorial and done a little dance or whatever and got body slammed. There's a lot of strange things about Adam. Considering he is a member of Code Pink, which is a communist organization. But he does some good. The only problem is with Adam Kokesh, it seems he wants people to revolution. I will cover this at another date and time. But people are tricked into revolutions. Remember this, people. Order out of chaos. Anyway, back to the article. Adam Kokesh says peace and liberty activist Adam Kokesh caught up with some early occupiers at the McPherson Square in Washington, D.C., who were attempting to show solidarity with those that occupy Wall Street. Although the student protesters spoke of broader issues, they were mostly carrying signs about the high cost of college education. Kokesh drilled deeper into the standard, and it said, we're here to support the 99ers, reason for being there, and revealed a disappointing level of understanding. Unfortunately, they seem grossly misinformed as to why the cost of college has skyrocketed, and the fact that Obama has escalated the wars, and why large corporations can operate as oppressive cartels. Some of these people, when I get my website up tomorrow, I will make sure and link over to this article. It clearly states the name of the article is "Confused Occupy D.C. Protesters Want to Reward Obama with a Re-election." We absolutely cannot afford the re-election of Barack Hussein Obama. But he's going to get the jobs bill back, according to Politico here. President Barack Obama sent his $447 billion jobs bill to Congress nearly 3 weeks ago and said on Saturday, October 1st, that he wants it back. He said, "This jobs bill is fully paid for. This jobs bill contains the kind of proposals Democrats and Republicans supported in the past." Obama said this in a weekly address to the nation. "And now I want it back. It's time for Congress to get its act together and pass this jobs bill so I can sign it into law." And in another quote, it says, "Are they against putting teachers and police officers and firefighters back on the job?" He always uses that. Have you ever noticed that? He's always talking about police, firefighters, and, well, it's union jobs. I mean, and then listen to this. "Are they against hiring construction workers to rebuild our roads and bridges and schools?" Roads and bridges. Stop and think about this, guys. History repeats itself. Roads and bridges. Oh, that's right. Hitler built roads and bridges, didn't he? He done a darn good job at that. Yeah, he also created the Autobahn. Wonder what this Messiah will build for us. I'm sure he's got plans. But this article's on Politico.com. It's called Obama wants jobs bill back. Anyway, going on to the police state. Internet firms, there's all kinds of them out there, all kinds of big ones. They want your information. They need your information. Anyway, internet firms co-opted for surveillance. Internet companies such as Google, Twitter, Facebook are increasingly co-opted for surveillance work as the information they gather proves irresistible to law enforcement agencies, web experts say this past week. Although such companies try to keep their users' information private, their business models depend on exploiting it to sell targeted advertising, and when the governments demand they hand it over, they have little or no choice but to comply. Big Brother's watching you. When the possibilities exist for information to be obtained that wasn't possible before, it's entirely understandable that law enforcement is interested. This is a quote by Google's chief internet evangelist, Vint Cerf, who told Reuters at the interview. I'm sorry, guys, I did not cite where I got this information from. I got it from Reuters.com. This was from September 30th, 2011. If you want to look this up for yourself, it is quoted as Internet firms co-opted for surveillance. Internet firms co-opted for surveillance. That way, if any of you out there have a YouTube channel, you can use this information and report it to your subscribers and friends, because that is what we're here for. We are here to inform the masses of what is going on. Also, another article here, we have Wall Street Journal changes privacy policy to track users' browsing data without consent. Now it's on the Wall Street Journal. I used to cruise the Wall Street Journal all the time to check out stuff, but I don't think I'll do that anymore. It says here because News Corp has apparently given up any pretensions to respecting the privacy of others, it recently updated its privacy policy for Wall Street Journal website to allow the company to connect personally identifiable information with web browsing data without user consent. Before the change, which was made on Tuesday this past week, Wall Street Journal privacy policy stated it would obtain express affirmative consent to combine personal data with clickstream information. Why the change? The network's general manager says that by combining and identifying info with the browsing history, it will allow us to provide customized Wall Street Journal service information to our users. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we see it more and more and more. I know they're doing it on YouTube as well as Facebook. Every keystroke is recorded. Every word is tracked. Welcome to the Orwellian experience. Any of you out there, if you have not gotten a chance to check out George Orwell's 1984 book, it's quite an old book. You might want to pick that up and read it. Come to find out, George Orwell actually married into the Rothschild family. That's pretty interesting. One of the world elites married into that family. His wife was a Rothschild. So I believe back in I believe it was 38. Don't quote me on this. 38 when he wrote the book after he had gotten married. He might have been given a little picture to our future. On to the police state. The TSA pats down breast cancer survivor even after getting scanned. Lori Dorn the wife of Laughing Squid Scott Beale, recently submitted to a backscatter scan at the JFK airport. This lady actually submitted to the scan. Now, think about this, guys. She submitted to the scan. She bowed down to the goofballs at the TSA. The TSA pulled her aside for a breast pat-down, even though she stated that she had breast implants in place after her bilateral mastectomy. Of course, that didn't stop them. They didn't even let her take the device identification card. Take out the device identification card that would could have explained where the implants came from and their medical purpose. No. Instead, they just humiliated her in public. Instead, she called over a female supervisor and told that they were going to do the exam, and it didn't matter if they could retrieve the card and needed to submit the physical exam in order to be cleared. And even if it said, the TSA worker said, and if we don't clear you, you don't fly, loud enough for all the passengers to hear. Of course, they want to do this stuff. What they do, they get all loud and everything and let other people that are going to be flying hear this. Makes them, a little bit nervous. Oh, do they suspect she has some kind of bomb or something? They use this tactic on us. Anyway, any of you that have watched my YouTube channels in the past, I've talked about the Muslim Brotherhood, and I was talking about how they were being, how these overthrows of governments in Africa and the Middle East would be used to bring in a new order of bad guys. Matter of fact, the same terrorists, supposedly, whom we've been fighting for, supposedly, for the last 10 years. The U.S. met with Egypt Islamists. This was this morning on Reuters. In Cairo, U.S. officials have met members of the Muslim Brotherhood's party, a U.S. diplomat said, after Washington announced it would have direct contacts with Egypt's biggest Islamist group, whose role has grown since U.S. ally Mubarak was ousted. Now, if you recall, Hillary Clinton and also our beloved Messiah Obama had called for the step down of Mubarak. But look who's taking power here. They're trying to ramp us up into World War III. I'll tell you that now. Because the last time we were in this kind of financial situation was back in the 1930s. And what did they do for the big bankers to cash in on us? They ramped up World War III, cashed in on both sides, and there you have it. But anyway, Washington announced plans in June portraying such contacts with the continuation of earlier policy, but analysts say it reflected a new approach to the way it dealt with a group which Mubarak banned from politics. Well, why did Mubarak ban the Muslim Brotherhood from politics? I'll tell you why. He knew they were dangerous. He knew they were dangerous people. But yet we bring them into power? Why are we backing these guys? Who's the enemy here? Do you ever ask these questions, guys? I know I do. after reading so many different articles and studying this stuff, makes you a little bit angry. On to other news here. Did you know that there's a supercomputer out there that predicts revolution? It's predicting revolution. You know what? I'm not a real smart guy, but I could pretty much see a revolution coming this way. It's pretty obvious, but yet, there is a supercomputer that predicts revolution. I am going to have to cite this, otherwise I will be lying to you. If I can find exactly... here it is. It's on the singularityhub.com. This article was written on September 25th. I just ran into it today. I thought it was interesting. It says a new type of software has been shown to predict revolutions by mining news reports around the world. Retrospectively, mining the news for the past 30 years, the software indicates that there is a likelihood for a revolution is high. When put to the test, bingo, the software showed spikes just before recent Egyptian and Libyan upheavals. It was also able to sift through world news, respectively, pinpoint Osama bin Laden's location within 200 kilometers. The emerging science of culturomics that tracks cultural trends through the written word, the software was first demonstrate that news coverage can be used to predict future events. The software sifted through news reports from nearly every country around the world. Major sources were from global news databases such as U.S. government-run Open Source Center, which provides open source intelligence, of Britain's BBC monitoring, as well as New York Times archives dates back to 1945. But again, I say it does not take a scientist to figure out that there will be a revolution. The only problem that I have with this, guys, is that I believe that the fists will swing just as they have in the past, if you look throughout history, in the wrong direction and bring in a worse, even worse, dictator. I see. Yeah. Now, as far as your health is concerned, I see that prolonged ingestion of fluoride drinking water damages the brain. Do you have fluoride in your drinking water in your local area? I hope not. This was on preventdisease.com. I will make sure and link to that on my website. As of tomorrow, I promise you guys, it will be done. Several people have contacted me about this and want it done. Anyway, it says, the prolonged ingestion of fluoride may cause significant damage to health, particularly to the nervous system. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. Concludes a review of study by researchers Valdez Jimenez, published in Neurologia, reports New York State coalition opposed to fluoridization. I should have just said NYSCOF. The research team reports it is new to be aware of serious problem to avoid the use of toothpaste and items that contain fluoride, particularly in children, as they are more susceptible to toxic effects of fluoride. Fluoride can be toxic by ingesting 1 part of 1 million, and the effects are not immediate as they take 20 years or more to become evident. Fluoride was first added to water in the United States in the 1940s to help prevent tooth decay in children 8 years old and younger. These assumptions were later dismissed by hundreds of scientific publications which showed that internal consumption of fluoridated water had no effect on tooth decay. None. Did you hear that, guys? None. Hundreds of scientific publications showed that internal consumption of fluoridated water had no effect on tooth decay whatsoever. So the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that dental fluorosis is high among adolescents between the ages of 12 and 15. One reason increases in fluorosis. Americans are now exposed to fluoride in a variety of sources, including toothpaste, mouth rinses, and prescription supplements, said the Department of Health and Human Services. So, stay the heck away from fluoride. Don't do it. And don't chew that gum crap. Don't chew gum unless you read the label. It has aspartame in it. Don't drink those diet drinks. It's got bad stuff in it, man. Bad stuff. Anyway, on ridiculous news, I'm going to go on to this. This is from the Telegraph. It says the X Factor could cause mental problems. Could it? The X Factor is playing a fast and loose with people's minds, according to distinguished mental health campaigner Marjorie Wallace. This was posted September 30th, 2011, on the Telegraph by Tim Walker. It is Britain's most popular television program, but the X Factor has been accused of risking mental illness among the contestants by Marjorie Wallace. The chief executive of SANE Mental Health Charity says that the talent show created by Simon Cowell is playing fast and loose with people's minds. She tells Mandrake, it's like conditioning experiments that took place in the 60s on animals to see what combination of reward and punishment would drive them crazy. These reality programs are in some ways repeating the outlined experiments, and this isn't psychological research, it's entertainment. Wallace, sometime companion of Earl of Snowdon, I don't know, is aware of the example of Siri Reese, a tone-deaf widow who rejected 4 times in 6 years on the X Factor. Reese, 54, was subjected to several minutes of humiliation after her latest audition. Producers need to take responsibility for the potential consequences, said Wallace. Things known precipitate mental illness, our feelings of failure to meet expectations of ourselves and others, and social rejection. It can trigger a potentially depressive illness. The public has a role play in slowly realizing that it also demeans the spectator. Well, being crushed, I've been crushed many times in my life. I've failed many times in my life, and I think I'm okay. Well, just like I told my friend earlier, I'm probably going to get online here and do this radio show, but I didn't know if anyone was going to show up, so I might as well be in a straitjacket in a white rubber room bouncing against the wall talking to myself. Anyway, we're going to take a break here, and I'll be back here in about 3 minutes, and we will go on to the mystery religions of Babylon and ancient Egypt. I will be taking calls as I'm reporting that. The call-in number here in just a few minutes is 760-539-3244. The number is 760-539-3244. Be back in just a minute. All right, just a little bit of rock and roll for you guys to sit around and listen to. I got my stuff together over here. You're listening to Red Alert Radio. The date is October 2nd, 2011. And we are going to cover some things tonight that you may or may not know. There is something wrong in the world. We all know this. What is it? Things are changing at a very, very fast pace. It looks like people are doing revolutions worldwide. Governments are being overthrown. But what order is coming in? What order is coming in next? I'm sure you've all heard the term of the New World Order. Well, I'm here to tell you it's real. And it's not the New World Order. It's actually the old world being brought into the new. 3,000 years before Christianity had been brought into practice. The ancient mystery religions existed and still exist today within the Masons, the Skull and Bones, amongst many, many other secret societies. Have any of you seen the cremation of care of Bohemian Grove? I have. That big owl. There's a big owl. All these world leaders every year go to northern part of California and meet 2 weeks out of the summer. Big, powerful guys. They meet every year in Northern California in July for 2 weeks and have their little ritualistic parties, run around nude, and actually have hired in male prostitutes to service them. And as Bad Brain Prepper I've seen over in the chat room had mentioned Moloch. Yeah. Moloch is the deity in which they do the cremation of care sacrifice. Well, in the old ancient days, people would actually take babies and burn them for their Moloch god, which I'm sure many of you probably already know. We have been warned about this by several people in the past, including the late William Cooper, who had passed away not by natural death, November 6th, 2001. He had actually warned of the New World Order coming into play. Then anyway, 3,000 years before Christianity, over in Egypt, the hieroglyphics, on the hieroglyphics was a picture of the sun. Some people don't think that's a big deal. But they actually called the sun the newborn baby Horus, the infant Savior, God's son. If you understand where I'm coming from here. You see, the ancient order, they are a perversion of Christianity, and they see Christianity, anyone that believes in God or follows the way of God, they hate him. They want him dead. Anyway, their perversion, the new baby Horus, I'll get into it in a minute. They actually called baby Horus the Son of God, S-U-N, and not S-O-N. And that is where, actually, when you think about it, I'm sure you've heard of the horizon. Do you know where that term comes from? Horizon? Horizon actually comes from Horus risen. Horus risen is where that term comes from. So now you know where the term horizon comes from. It's all over the place, and it's been right in front of your eyes at all times throughout your life. The terms, definitions, but a lot of you didn't know where these words had come from. You know, every day in Egypt, They believed that the sun had died. And the evil one, which was darkness, or Set, or Tiffin, would kill God's sun. That is where the term sun set. God's sun was killed by Set. And when the sun would die, it would fall wearing a crown or a corona. That was their term, the corona. In Latin, which means crown of thorns. Do you see where this is going? Crown of thorns. If you notice on the Statue of Liberty, which was created by the French Masons, which was given to us here in the United States of America, she actually has a crown of thorns. These people are sun worshipers, the holder of light, the bearer of light. And who is that in the Bible? That is Lucifer. Have you ever noticed the kings always wore crowns? And always sat there on the throne with staffs? I'll get into that here in a little bit, here in just a few. See, ancient man kept track of time by the sun. They used the sundial for the day, the month, and the year. They actually used the cross of the zodiac, which I'm sure many of you probably already know. I may or may not be educating you on this, but the cross of the zodiac. Now, the interesting thing is, which has been embedded into our own Christianity system, during the Southern Cross of when the sun is moving, when it stops moving, and the most southern point of winter solstice is the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Okay? Now, on the 25th, as it begins moving, the sun god, Horus, was born again. The sun god, Horus, was born again on the 25th. Now, do you see where I'm going with this? It's kind of strange that we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ on the 25th of December, when actually the man, I believe, that walked this earth, who was supposed to save us from all our sins, was born in September. Now, if you another thing that was interesting about the ancient order, or the new order, which are the same people, the same bloodlines, 13 was an unlucky number for humans. That's why they always use 12. Have you ever noticed in the Bible there were 12 disciples of Jesus plus Jesus? And have you ever noticed the combination of the number 7 in the Bible along with 12? I'll just give you a few examples. I'm not saying the Bible's evil, but I will say there have been parts that have been tainted throughout history. There's 12 apostles, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 judges of Israel, 12 Old Testament prophets. Now, any of you that are really religious, I'm not trying to make you angry whatsoever. I believe that Jesus Christ came here and died on the cross for our sins and all of that. But I just thought I'd point that out to you guys, and any of you out there that have studied the Bible know this, and know that there's plenty of examples of the number 12 in the Bible. Please, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Now, all this ancient order are actually in fascination with the 12 signs of the zodiac, which are the 12 monthly signs which were called houses of the zodiac. The ancients, Babylonians, and ancient Egypt. Just like they in Babylon, they took the skies into 12 parts. Now, the 12 parts were Aries, which was the ram or the Lamb of God. Then there's Taurus, which was bull or the golden calf. And then there were Gemini, which were twins. Now, you're going to find this very strange. Gemini, the twins. Jesus and Satan as brothers, or one entity. That is their belief. I do want to let you know this is not my belief system at all. This does not reflect my point of views. I am simply giving you information about who and what we are dealing with. Anyway, we've got Cancer, which is the crab, Leo, the lion, Virgo, the virgin. Notice the spring birth of God's Son in Virgo. Libra, the scales. Scorpio, the scorpion, the traitor, Judas. Sagittarius, the archer. Capricorn, the sea goat. Aquarius, the man, the water pitcher. And Pisces, the two fish. The mystery schools actually believe that we are leaving Pisces right now. That is their belief system. They believe that we are going now into the age of Aquarius, age of the illuminated or illumined man. Number of the man is 666. Have you ever understood why you do a sunrise service at Easter? Passover, the coming of spring, the death of the resurrection. See, Jews had learned this from their captivity over in Egypt. Celebrate Passover. There are a lot of things out there, guys, that we have been misled to over a period of time, and it is continuously embedded into our system, incrementally. Socialists love this. So do the communists. This is what they want. Anyway, the sun enters each house of the zodiac at 30 degrees and leaves at 33. I want you to stop and think about this. It enters at 30 degrees and leaves at 33 degrees. Now, I don't know if any of you have studied the Masons. The Masons are misled clear up until they're 30th degree Mason. And that's when they become illumined or illuminated. And at 33 degrees, they know everything. They know exactly who they worship. Another thing that is interesting about these people is, they talk about God's Son walking on water, Jesus. Well, in another sense, there's a perversion to that. Have you ever looked at the gleam of the sunlight, during the day on the water? What do you see? You see the sun, and it's walking on water. This is their belief system. Again, this is not mine, but it is a perversion of Christianity, which is actually the total opposite. Have you noticed that the sun is on many things that we see today? Drive by a BP gas station. Drive by Shell. What is that? It's supposed to be a shell. It's actually the sun. You see it everywhere. It's all around you guys. Just open up your eyes, and you will see what is going on. These people hate Christians because they believe Christianity, on the other hand, is the perversion of their religion. Their religion is hidden from everyone with their ritualistic ways. I myself, I have a belief in Christianity and in people. I try not to hate anyone, but not these people. They hate everyone and everything associated with Christianity. Christians always refer to God as the Father. Well, on the other hand, the ancient mystery religions, they see as their God as the Father also, and according to their religion, I'm sure you've heard the term Mother Earth. Well, they actually do believe the Earth is the mother. I've taken a lot of notes just for this one radio broadcast here. But anyway, in ancient Babylon, God's Son, S-U-N, was the risen Savior and was the light of the world who gave his life for us. Do you see where I'm going with this? That is their God, the sun god. The newborn son Horus was given the Logos, which means the Word. Oh my gosh, that's something else. I also have a friend that cannot stand, who is it, Pelosi? And I ask her, what's your favorite thing? She says the word. Well, I think I know where she came up with this. I want you to listen closely. The newborn son Horus was given the Logos, which means the Word. This was made to be said and felt among, therefore he and the only begotten Son of the Father, the Word, was lost. You can find this story in the Assyrian cycle of Isis, Osiris, and the child Horus. The symbol of the Word is the obelisk or the stone. It was also called the lost word in Freemasonry. You can find this in any library out there. Please do not take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. But I found this very interesting, that a year and a half ago, when they were talking to Nancy Pelosi, they asked her, what her favorite thing was. And she had said the Word. Now I believe that I have an understanding of what she was talking about, and I think you do too. Horus' second name was also Isis. Horus, the sun god, which means the holder of light. Where have we heard that before, guys? Make sure and pick up your Bibles and find out who the bearer of the light is. I think you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. The interesting thing that later in history, in Roman Latin, Isis became interchangeable with J. This became Jesus. You can find that in any public library or online library to reconfirm what I'm saying. Again, do not take my word for it. I am only giving you information of what I have found. If any of you want to call in at any time, the number is 760-539-3244, 760-539-3244. I am giving you the basics of the ancient Babylon religions tonight, Sunday, October 2nd, 2011. I will continue doing this in the weeks to come to incrementally let you know or have you understand who and what we are dealing with. If you want to know how to defeat your enemy, you have to understand who your enemy is. And this, I believe, is our enemy. The old order, ancient order, is the new world order. See where Bad Brain Prep has said all religions are a control. Yeah, to a certain extent, I have to agree with you on that. To a certain extent. But you have to have faith in something. Anyway, I'm going to take a break real quick. I'll be back in 3 minutes to talk to you guys. Remember, the call-in number is 760-539-3244, 760-539-3244, and I'll be back in approximately 3 minutes. I can't hear you. I've got like 10 seconds. What? Looks like I have a call coming in. Again, it is October 2nd, 2011. Caller. Hello.
Hey, caller, this is Wade. Can you hear me clearly? Or how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How's it going? Looks like I have a call coming in. Again, it is October 2nd. You might want to turn that down there in the background. Caller.
Hold on.
Hello.
Hold on a second. Hey, caller, this is Wade. Can you hear me clearly? Or hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Because I was hearing background noise, like echoes.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to touch base on what you were saying about, the religion structure and how it's controlling.
Right.
I mean, here's my view on it. And I've spoken about this before. What people got to realize is that anytime you look for something outside of yourself, you're handing over power to the controllers. And not only that, you're handing over your sovereignty, most of all. And the moment you do, you're selling your soul. Because
I see what you're saying. I see what you mean. I want to give the people an opportunity of the late Bill Cooper doing a quote from Brzezinski. Any of you out there that knows who Brzezinski was, I believe he was in, who was that? Carter's administration. Have you ever heard of Brzezinski, Wade? Wait.
Name sounds familiar, but I don't think.
Okay.
I can't recall it.
Let me put a quote on here from the late Bill Cooper, who had was killed November 6th of 2001. I learned a great deal from, and then we'll go back to that, and I'll listen to more of what you're saying here. I'm going to put us on mute and let people hear a quote from what Bill Cooper was talking about, how the New World Order was being brought in, etc. It's only 2 minutes long, but I'll get right back to you on this. All right, Wade?
All right, no problem.
Okay.
Someone who might have given the world the date for the commencement of these predicted changes was Zbigniew Brzezinski, a Marxist, President Jimmy Carter's national security advisor during his 4-year administration. And he wrote the following in his book entitled Between Two Ages, by the way. You should read every book that he's ever written. You will be angered. Quote, either 1976 or 1989, the 200th anniversary of the Constitution could serve as a suitable target date for culminating a national dialogue on the relevance of existing arrangements, the workings of the representative process, and the desirability of imitating the various European regionalization reforms and of streamlining the administrative structure, unquote. And it did begin exactly when he said it would. So the people of the world can now determine what those changes are that those in the positions of implementing changes have in store for them. In summary, folks, these changes are: the old world is coming to an end. It will be replaced with a new way of doing things. The new world will be called the New World Order. This new structuring will redistribute property from the have nations and will give it to the have-not nations. The New World Order will include changes in the family, the workplace, religion. The United States will play a major role in bringing it to the world. World wars have been fought to further its aims. Adolf Hitler, the Nazi socialist, supported the goal of the planners. The majority of the people will not readily accept the New World Order, but will be deceived into accepting it by two strategies. One, those in favor of the changes will have become seated in the very thrones of power, generally without the public realizing that fact, and this has already occurred. Two, the old world order will be destroyed piece by a series of planned nibbles at the established format. The Communist Party is actively supporting the changes to the New World Order. The basic tenets of Christianity, which were the base for the old world order, will have to be eliminated. If the slower methodical techniques of change do not function, violence will be introduced and controlled by the planners, including possibly a World War III using atomic weapons. The people of the world will give up their freedom to the controllers because there will be a planned famine or some other serious occurrence such as a depression or war. The change to the New World Order is coming shortly, folks, and it has already begun. However, if that is not the case, it will be introduced one step at a time so that the entire structure will be in place by the year 1999.
As you can see, this guy quoted this back, or had said this back in 1993, and I'm sure you guys can see where it's coming into play now. What do you think about that, Wade?
I mean, for him to come on and say that a couple of years prior to even 9/11 makes you wonder. Yeah, and a lot of these people, they've pre-warned us many years ago. People didn't listen.
They killed William Cooper on November 6th, 2001, after he had predicted 9/11 that summer. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they killed this man. So the words that we talk about here, others have died getting this word out.
And that's why we gotta take their place. You know, they could kill one or two or, three or a couple hundred, but they can't kill a couple of billion because there's like 7 billion people on the planet. So,
right.
Good luck to them trying to eradicate us.
Well, as you've seen in the past, what they've done is they always ramp up world wars, and they went to one community back in the 30s or 40s. I didn't know if you knew about this, man, but they actually went. Our own government actually went down into an Alabama town back in the 30s and 40s and shot these poor people up with syphilis just to see how it worked out over a period of years. Isn't that amazing?
These people, you got to know who we're dealing with. We're dealing with some very barbaric people. Like they treat us kind of like lab rats. So they're thinking they're more superior than everybody else. No, they're not.
Well, they're absolutely. Just like the ancient Egyptians, which is the old order, which is the New World Order. They actually believe that mankind was called the sheep of God, which is also put in the Bible, but of the sun God, the overseer. And what's interesting is those who have the power, have you noticed all these kings wear the crowns, which are the Cronus, and they always, have you ever seen the old pictures of kings? They always have the staff.
Yeah, and I think in their right hand or something.
Yeah, the staff is in the right hand, and just like a shepherd who herds the sheep, and then later they are led to the slaughter.
People got to realize some of these guys, we see them as humans, but underneath they're not. Most of them, the majority. So we're dealing with some,
they're pure evil. Yeah, they're pure evil, Wade. And you know it and I know it.
I call them the reptilians. Or the draconians. And then the bloodline, there's many different bloodlines. So,
have you ever noticed that, have you ever looked up what an apron on a Freemason, have you ever seen the aprons on, like, Freemasons?
I haven't really looked much into that, but I'll definitely research on it. Go ahead.
The aprons on the Freemasons are made of the skin of an animal. And you know the reason why they use these aprons as the skin of an animal? The reason why is because in the higher order, they will lead the people to be slaughtered. They will wear the skin. That's the representation.
Remember in our previous shows, I was warning. I was giving a lot of warnings about what's coming. These guys are going to show up after they dethrone the Illuminati, which they're going to kick the Illuminati out of power, right? Because we got to remember here, the Illuminati are the smaller faction. They're just the worker guys.
Well, yeah, what they worship is the higher realm, the light bearer, which is actually Lucifer, and all his cronies, and they're going to come in. You know that. Yeah.
So basically, the Illuminati went rogue on the higher order, which is the bearer of light. So they want to do their own thing. They want to depopulate, but we got to realize here that the higher order, they would think of the higher order as like a farmer. What would a farmer want to see a sheep herd and maim itself? No, because they benefit from us.
Right.
We're too valuable. Meanwhile, the lower order, which is the Illuminati, they're like insane and suicidal.
Here's the thing, though.
This is why they're going to kick him out of power. So.
Right.
That's why we got to be careful here.
Hey, Wade.
Doesn't mean there's power coming in. Yeah.
Here's the thing. The main reason that I pulled the show together tonight. See, you're jumping like light years ahead of most of these people. Some of these people don't understand a lot of this stuff. A couple weeks ago, when I started talking about the Illuminati and everything else, started naming a bunch of names and all that stuff, a lot of people started leaving the show because it was like, well, this doesn't make sense to me at all or anything. The main reason why I had this show tonight is to give them the basics of the research and an understanding of who and what we are dealing with.
In other words,
I totally agree with you.
You want to start from the origin of how all this started.
Yeah, basically going back to the basics. Some of the people that don't understand what's going on with the ancient order of where it started, that's pretty much why I brought this show together.
Yeah, I do tend to jump. Sorry.
Yeah, you leap like to the now, and they're like, wait, there's another order. They're like, whoa.
And I just light speed up.
So they're like, they're probably a little bit lost on where you're at.
Dude, slow down.
Yeah, they're like, slow down. Did you know another interesting feature of the ancient Egyptians? God's risen son Horus.
Mm-hmm.
At 12 noon, he came the Most High. So when the sun got into the position, it became the mediator between God and man. His name was Amun Ra, which means ray, ray of the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Egyptian shepherds and priests, would direct their prayers to the invisible God through Amun Ra. Now, here's the interesting thing. Check this out, man. At the time of the end of their prayer, you know what they'd say? Amen.
Oh, that's where that came from.
That's where it came from, originally. Pretty interesting, huh? Now, do you know where the word or the name Israel came from?
No.
Well, just refer to the word Israel as it's spelled. I-S stands for Isis, the mother. R-A is Ra, which is the sun, Ray, and E-L, L is God, Israel. Please make sure and research it for yourself, man. Don't take my word for it. It's research that I have done, and I found it very interesting. But I honestly feel that we are in a battle of good and evil here now. It's quite apparent to me, and we've got an interesting time ahead, I believe, in the next year. We really do. Wouldn't you say, Wade?
I mean, I totally agree with you. It's just that we gotta wait, We can't, Nobody could know for sure what's coming, but we do know, we have a gut feeling that something's about to happen. We don't know what it is, but something is about to, take place.
Well, I mean,
what
do you think? What do you think about these people going down to Wall Street and protesting and everything when they don't even? Most of them don't even know what they're protesting. It's like they're not using their thinking caps of what's going on.
I mean, in a way, I did agree with you about they don't know what they're protesting about, but they do have a right to protest, though. They do.
They have a right to protest, but the only problem is misdirected anger or misguidance.
But I do totally agree with you. See, they're only protesting about the financial situation, but what about our freedoms? What about what about what the New World Order? What about their plans? See, they're only talking about financial stuff, like the economy and the jobless.
Right. Which they embedded themselves into our economy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just drives me nuts.
I mean, personally, I think they should be targeting the Bilderbergers and the Rockefellers.
Well, and those are the guys. No, you're right. Wade.
Not by violence, but by calling them out. Like putting them on the spot, so to speak.
I say I've got the list of names. Who the big fat cats are and their bloodlines, and it runs throughout history, clear back to the Egyptians. I mean, it's so apparent. It is so apparent.
Coming, I mean, why isn't they running to their underground bunkers? And, I mean, and they're not going to be safe there. Let me tell you that. Because, I mean, they think only humanity they should be afraid of. Mother Earth is getting ready to change, and nobody can stop that.
Well, I told you where that term Mother Earth came from.
Well, Mother Earth actually he called heart. He turned it backwards. Yeah, so here are these guys, building all these underground bunkers and underground cities. I mean, so when, Nibiru or the brown dwarf come by, they think they could run from that. And even if they could run from that, what about Mother Earth? She's gonna change too. She didn't do that in the past, but this time her crust is gonna melt away, and her core is gonna implode. So let's see what they're gonna do.
That's interesting that you bring that up. I watched the interview, I believe it was yesterday. Seth, can't remember that guy's name. Seth something. He's a comedian. He was talking to, oh shoot, the guy that done Star Wars or whatever.
George Lucas?
Yeah, George Lucas. And he was talking about him doing a future project this few months back, and he wanted to get it done quick. And, he was wondering why. I believe the guy's named Seth Rogen.
I knew that. It sounds familiar, yeah. That could be.
He's played in several comedies and stuff. Anyway, I guess he was talking. I guess he was talking to. Yeah, I guess he was talking to George Lucas, and George Lucas honestly believes 2012 is real, and that the platelets are going to shift, and this, that, and the other. I just thought it was kind of interesting. I guess he had been talking to some top scientists and stuff of that sort about it, and yeah.
The scientists only look at the outside.
Right.
They're not looking at the picture. I mean, Earth is we won't be able to live on the surface.
Right.
Which makes sense when I brought up the dimensional doorways and all that, which I won't get into because, as you said, it might be way out there for other people. So.
You're all right, man.
It goes into the spiritual aspects of things. That's what I mean. So these guys, they don't want to die. I mean, they can't run from death. And, I'm not saying that to be fear-mongering or anything. It's just they're running. They're running from something they can't run from,
Yeah,
they can run, but they can't hide.
Yeah, death is part of life, I mean, that's all it is, I mean, you just go on to the next level, really.
You gotta also realize Mother Earth is conscious.
I'm not.
She's getting ready to change. She's just behind us. She's actually holding back because she could change right now, and nobody will be able to live on the surface unless you go to your light body, which I won't get into because it's pretty complex stuff.
Right. Over the next several weeks.
In other words, you won't be able to live in this carbon-based body, which is condensed matter.
Wait, I thought you weren't going to get into that, man.
I don't know. Okay, go ahead, man.
I appreciate you calling in, man. We've got approximately 40 some odd seconds to the end of the show. I appreciate you calling in, Wade.
I'm going off on multiple tangents, but yeah.
I'll get a hold of you here in a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You're just listening to Red Alert Radio tonight, October 2nd, 2011. I want to thank everyone for coming and checking it out. I wanted to put out more information. Sorry the delay on the program tonight. Any of you get in contact with me on YouTube. Poor Man's News. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.